So do you think you're losing your mind? Not in this instance. Boss Katana Gen 3 amps do have a lag between the tone studio and your amp. I spoke to Boss and got the real deal on what's going on. Stick around and find out. I think this is working. Hi, good evening, friends. Brian here from Guitars and Cigars. We're doing a little late night working on our Katana setup. I'm getting a lag between the tone studio and my amp when I am in the actual tone studio. So in the amp, which is what you access over here on the left, I have no lag. So I'm going to go up to Alex Rhodes. No lag. Go up to the, let's see here, the Church Brown Violation. Now, when I go over to my section where I've got different patches that I'm playing around with, I get a delay. So I just clicked on it. So you get 5 to 9 second delay. So I thought there was something wrong with my amp. My MK250 did not have a delay. Whether I went over to my amp or I went over to my tone studio, it was instantaneous. So I'm thinking to myself, oh crap, there's something wrong with my computer or there's something wrong with my amp. So I uninstalled, reinstalled the software. I tried a different cable. I even tried loading it up on one of my laptops to see. Got the same result. So I reached out to tech support at Boss. And my first email back was to go through everything that I already went through. Then I sent another one back to the contact that I'm speaking with, and he gave me a couple more things to try, which are more or less the same type of tweaks, same result. In the meantime, he got with his tech support team and had a talk with one of their tech gurus, basically Yoda. And apparently with the Generation 3, because they've packed so much into it, and the way that this now processes from your software to your amp, you're getting that delay. That's normal now. So I don't think that's the greatest feature. Neither did he. The people at Boss are trying to come up with a patch to fix that issue, but right now there isn't one. So the advantage to the Gen 3 versus the Gen 2 is basically you had 8 presets you could set up in your Gen 2 amps. With this setup, you can do 15. I don't know exactly how to do that. That'll be my next foray into the menagerie of the Boss Katana amp. But now at least I know, and you will know, if you run into this, this is normal. So again, if we're over in our amp side, there's no delay. So, like I said, at least I'm not going insane, or at least not in this instance. My wife would disagree that other instances I'm not, but that's another entirely long, and you don't need to hear about that. So, The short of it is, if you're finding with your Gen 3 amps that you're getting a delay between the Boss Tone Studio and it connecting to your amp when you're bouncing around in patches here, you're not losing your mind. That unfortunately is a side effect of their update that they did for the software. Now, the software update and the things that we can do with this amp, I think far outweigh that delay personally. And the other thing I want to do is give a quick shout out to Boss, which is a whole huge company, which on top of it is Roland, the keyboard company, and the really cool Roland dual chorus amps that used to be around in the late 80s, which were one of the most amazing amps to come out at that point. Kudos to them for reaching out and getting back to me quickly. It was less than 24 hours for my first email. I got my second email about 4 hours later. And in between, he took his, the time to go and talk with the techs and get me an answer. So Boss is right up there now with Sweetwater, with Chillcat, and with Boston Scally as 4 of the best companies I've dealt with for their customer service. All 4 of them should do a masterclass on how to handle customer service, because there are so many other businesses out there that suck. You send an email to some of these other companies, maybe a month later you'll get a generic can, sorry to hear that, bye. I haven't gotten that with Chillcat. I certainly didn't get that with Boston Scally. You heard my story about that. Screwed up the hat order because I couldn't measure my bovine cranium. And they sent me replacements before I even sent the old ones back. And Sweetwater, they've been amazing. I had some questions. I put an order in for an amp. Was processed right away. I now have my own contact person at Sweetwater. So that's another company that if you're looking to buy some equipment, you're not going to deal directly with Chillcat, or you're not going to deal directly with Boss or what have you. Sweetwater is an awesome company. I certainly cannot complain. A lot of people out there shit on them and say they suck, but not been the case with me. And if anybody wants a direct contact, just PM me. I'll happily give you the information. We're at guitars with an S dot cigars with an S INFO @gmail.com. And I'll give you my contact. I spoke to him and he said he's happy to help out anybody. So, all right, Brian here from Guitars and Cigars. So this is a quick update for our Katana Tone Lab and our Boss Katana people, that you're not losing your mind if you're seeing a lag. So, all right, have a good night. Smoke long, play loud, live well.